fucking weird, man. I mean, it's not weird until you realize that other people don't do it. Oh, you don't like door? Sometimes I go to my sister's house. I'm like, you can just leave this fucking door open. I'm like, yeah, you guys have a family.
Yeah. Usually people that live on the nicer side of town, like, yeah, I don't lock my door. I'm like, I do. Like, I didn't grow up out here.
I'll be right back. You're gonna have to like that. Ain't it funny how they thought that I would fade back? I'm feeling great now. I bet they hate that. They thought I was playing, but it ain't like that. I'll be right back. You're gonna have to like that. Ain't it funny how they thought that I would fade back? I'm feeling great now. I bet they hate.
Welcome everyone to another 20-minute chats with Galaxii Boii. Man, today we got some great energy in the building, man. I've been seeing this guy everywhere from the community, from Dave Certified to fucking Joel. I was gonna say Josh, bro. Don't kill me, Joel. It's like, bro,
what up, Joel?
Yeah, shout out Joel, the legend of Pacific Northwest. I've been seeing you everywhere around the community, and M status, and
shout out status.
Yeah, and so I first saw you. Oh wait, so anyway, King Era the First.
Yeah, King Era the First.
Welcome to the podcast, my guy. Welcome.
How you doing, man? Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
But let me. I just want to do that because sometimes I won't open no one and then never say their name. So I just want to get your name out of the way. But no, I first saw you on Joel's Mind podcast. Make sure to check that out, guys. Little slight plug there. I first saw you, and who was your friend that was on there?
Riot.
Yep. I saw you and him on there.
My boy Riot.
And at first, I was a little thrown off because you guys weren't really showing a lot of emotion. It kind of looked like a bunch of gang members on Joel's Mind podcast.
Yeah.
Like you see this positive dude, and then you just see like these two like from the surface area is just like these two gangsters.
Yeah.
Just chopping it up with this positive guy.
Well, we come from the background, but like our music reflects that, but there's a whole nother side to it. You know what I mean? So that's just the appearance, but there's a lot more to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you started proving me wrong from my prejudice-ness. I started seeing you Dave was talking about you, and then I started seeing you over at PJ's here and there, or you were hanging out with Amstats. I started seeing you in different lights.
Yeah.
You're cleaned up, smile. The smile is everything, my guy.
Yep.
When people see you with a smile, they're more open. They're like, oh, wow, this guy has a good mood. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And so I feel like you've been changing your image. You may not know it, but I definitely noticed, like from the last time I saw you or first time I saw you to like, I was more open to like, hey, I kind of want that guy on here because, he's giving me a positive vibe, positive energy. What would you say to that? I don't know. Do you feel like you are giving off that image? Are you changing your image or what is that?
Yeah, I think that, when I first started off with the music, I had a bunch of friends, growing up in the hood and just seeing that, image, and you're like, oh, that looks cool. Like, I want to be part of that, And then after you grow up and you mature and you're like, like, that's not who I am, you know what I mean? So why am I going to portray something that I'm not, Like, I grew up in the hood. I appreciate it. I think I'm always going to give back to that because, growing up in the hood is not nothing nice, And so, like, when you try to portray that image, that follows you, in your career. And so, you want to watch how you move. I love my people, you know what I mean? I have friends that are gang related till this day, you know what I mean? And I can't do nothing but respect it. But as far as like me indulging in it, trying to be like, that's me, it's really not, my family, I had a good upbringing, we grew up in the ghetto and grew up with minimum amount of money and resources, but we made it happen. My mom gave us a good life. So for me to be like, oh, poor me, I had a bad life, I really didn't, you know what I mean? So I can't just be like, spreading that, and I never wanted to how do you say it, that's not the image I want to give, you know what I mean? And I have a lot of young people looking up to me, family, young family that looks up to me, and so I want to give them the right image, something to be proud to follow, you know what I mean? And that gang life only takes you to two places, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's a sad thing, bro.
Yeah.
It really is, because you were just coming in here. We kind of, I grew up around like gang members, just like you, great upbringing, but just surrounded by it. And you're coming into my apartment and you're like, hope you don't mind, bro. I just always lock doors. I was like, bro, me too. I was like,
it's a bad. I mean, I don't know if it's a bad habit. It's just a habit, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, oh, lock it. Come in the door, lock it. I don't know. It's just something I always do. That's why I always tell someone, like whoever I'm with, I'm like, yo, bro, I just locked your door.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you were gonna do, but I just felt like the right thing.
It's fucking weird, man. I mean, it's not weird until you realize that other people don't do it. Oh, you don't lock the door? Sometimes I go to my sister's house. I'm like, you just leave this fucking door open? I'm like, you guys have a family?
Yeah. Usually people that live on the nicer side of town, like, yeah, I don't lock my door. I'm like, I do. Like, I didn't grow up out here. So
yeah, I knew chicks that were freaking just like middle schoolers, just always walking the nighttime, opening doors. Sometimes they find pills or whatever. They always tell me shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know people that do that. I never surround myself.
Yakima. You're in Yakima. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
ain't nobody safe in Yakima.
But no, man. You kind of sharing me some of your background. You kind of come. You say you're from First.
Yeah.
You grew up on First.
Yeah, I grew up right there, right by Pepsi. On First. There's an alley right there. I think that's second on this next part. And I just that was my upbringing. It's we always were getting broken into and getting jacked. It just sucked. We always kind of knew who it was too, but cops never did nothing about it. When you grow up in the hood, like the cops don't really react as much as like if you were to grow up like in West Valley. Like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they're like, we'll take our time. By the time they get there, take their notes and whatever, report, but we never ever got nothing back.
That's sad, man.
Yeah.
And then fucking people were like, oh man, why don't they just get a job? I don't know. It's just like people are so ignorant to some situations and stuff, but. No, where do you find the music and do you obviously our outside influences influence our music? I don't know. Do you kind of see that in your music, or do you try? What is the formula to your music?
So my music, my biggest influence is Dope House Records, SPM. Growing up, that's what I was listening to. My cousins were all listening to that, and. But I would say that was my first influence. I was like, oh, this guy's Mexican, and he's blowing up, and he's rich off music. Like, I was like, okay. And that's where kind of that image came from, like, oh, I'm already in the hood. Shit, I'm going to be gangster, you know what I mean? But I never got into a gang, because I had family on both sides. Like, I had family that are norteños, I had family that are sureños. So I always felt like if I chose a side, I'd be, like, shooting myself in the foot because, I mean, like I said, they're all my family, and I love my family. I'm more family oriented than anything, so that's what matters most to me. So I stuck with that, and I'm like, I can't just like throw my life away, being an immigrant coming from Mexico, like knowing how much my mom risked, put that line to give us a better life. I couldn't just be like, okay, I'm gonna be a gangster, you know what I mean, and possibly waste my life, so my music stems from that. It stems from the struggle, from listening to Mexican artists and seeing them thrive in their community and in their style of music that they decided to go to. So if you listen to a lot of our music, it's like Bay Area influenced, a lot of Cali style beats, but we have our own sound. I started with a group named DSB, Down Since Birth, and we were doing good, and but like I felt like I was trying to fit into an image instead of trying to like pave my own way, and so then we had like a little, not like we broke off, but like people just started, doing their life thing, family. I went to Seattle, I went to college out there. I was out there for like 11 years of my life, graduated in 2013. And that's when my music really kind of started to take off. But like, I was kind of like lost at the same time. Like, I didn't know which way to go. And so I was really trying to find myself and like what kind of music I was trying to put out there and the image I was trying to reflect. And I struggled with that, It's like I feel like you have like an identity crisis throughout your life where you don't know who you are, and you have to dig internally, which is, I feel like a lot of people don't know how to do that, and there's no like manual or like, oh, this is how you find yourself, you know. Like, it's kind of like you just
Life
gotta
just fucking boom,
yeah, like,
motherfucker.
you know, life just like redirects you, like, and you gotta learn, you gotta grasp, you gotta take all those experiences and then reroute yourself and go back to the drawing board, you know, make some different blueprints and then reintroduce yourself, and you know, hopefully you're gonna do it right this next time, you know. And if you don't, it's just like, my whole thing is like, I always just keep going, you know, and the smile and the positive attitude that follows me. Like, I don't let things or situations or people change who I am, you know. And my mom, she put a solid foundation within us, and it's filled with a lot of love, a lot of positivity, a lot of like go-getter mentality. You know, my mom raised us by herself pretty much, and so like I always use that as my, you know, motivation to like always do better, you know what I mean. I try not to go backwards too much, you know. Whatever doesn't work, get rid of it, and I just keep going. Same thing with the music. I just don't stop. I don't have a style. My style is just to be as dope as I can be, you know, whether it's on someone else's song or on my own. You know, if I hear something that I'm like, oh, I can't relate, then I might be like, all right, you know what, I'll have to pass on this. But it's always about reinventing yourself. You know what I mean? You can't be afraid of change and growth. You know, you got to embrace that. It comes with it, you know, and if you don't know how to accept change, you're going to have a hard time. Like,
Man, King Era, you changed. Good.
yeah, yeah, that's how it has to be. You know what I mean? I feel like any other way, you're like cutting yourself short. You know what I mean?
Hell
Missing an opportunity to grow out of situations that you feel like you could be doing better than, you know. And so that's kind of my attitude with music and life, really.
Yeah, man. Of course, man. You know what? I don't know what it is, bro. I think other positive people just know other positive people. Like, and then the people you surround yourself with too definitely reflects that. Like, I know I've talked to a lot of these people you hang out with. I'm like, man, those are positive ass people. I was like, this motherfucker must be a positive ass person. And then the way you carry yourself, you know, you're very, I don't know. There's something about like when you care about yourself, like you take care of yourself, the way you dress, the way you clean cut, and you know, it shows that you give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And so I saw you. I was like, man, I need that guy in here. You know what I mean? And you're welcome. You're like, of course, man. It's almost like you were like, I was waiting for the invitation, my guy.
I really was. I actually had, when I started following you, I was like, I could reach out. I was like, but I feel like my energy will eventually resonate, you know, with you and other people that are doing similar things. And I feel like eventually they'll reach out to me. I manifested it. You could say that for sure.
People don't know, man. You need to manifest anything you want. You do. You know, like like I don't know. It's just like what's the way? First it comes to the mind, or there's like two thoughts to it: mind, and then speaking it, and then physically writing it down.
Yep, and embodying it with your spirit. You know, like really believing in yourself that much that you're like, and it, you know, I was just talking about the other day. Is like there's a fine line between like confidence and cockiness. You know what I mean? And I struggle with it because I feel like when I'm being confident, some people might see it as cockiness, you know what I mean? And so, like, I'm really humble, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter how big I get. Like, I'm not going to get rid of my humbleness, because a lot of people get big or start getting big-headed and then, you know, start thinking that they're better than people, or, like, portraying that, you know, oh, like, you know, I'm high and mighty. But, I mean, what I've learned is, like, God will find a way to humble you down, you know?
Always, my God.
Like, so you got to stay humble, and you got to give, you know, your respects, and just find that balance, you know, that works for you.
It's a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
No, man, I've been on my journey too, man, dude. I can tell you've been, you know, you've gone through a journey, and you probably still are on that journey. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
definitely.
And,
don't stop.
No, man. If you guys try to get on us, man, do you read any books?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, most definitely.
With sharpened mind, always reads books. I already know. You got anything you're reading right now? What do you read?
The one that I'm reading right now is The Art of War.
Oh, okay.
Robert Greene.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have another one. I'm trying to think of the name.
I got his 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene.
Yeah, that one's a good one too.
I barely touched it because I have 2 other books I'm reading, but I'm reading the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People right now.
Nice.
Great book. If you guys trying to be on me on this level right now of like it's a lot of self growth, exactly what he talks about, and you know, talking and learning to control your environment. I don't know. It's a great book to check in if you're trying to better yourself as a person and your relationships too. But go ahead, my guy.
Yeah, I was just going to say some of the, you know, I think the smartest people in the world, even, you know, people that didn't go to college, what they did different is they read. They read a lot. You know, I just read about Elon Musk. He studied his favorite rocket engineer, made him his friend, and instead of like learning from him, he asked him to borrow the books that that guy was reading, you know. And so he studied his library before he studied off of him, you know what I mean? So he learned more from studying that guy's library, and that's how he became who he is based on that. So study people's libraries, you know,
Really,
people that are up there.
I know, bro. I really didn't start reading, and then I went out to Portland, got a book, and then I had heard about another book, and then I got Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I fucking went nuts.
Yeah.
And finished it, and well. And then I don't know, just like I was like, man, I learned so much from this book. Imagine what I can learn from the other books.
Yep.
Like I can just invest in knowledge and stuff. And so I went and dropped like $100 on books, and fucking haven't went back since, man. I just thought it was so weird, you know. Like I was like, there's so much knowledge out here. I was like, people just sleeping.
Yeah, they are, and it's hard to read nowadays. Yeah. We're so distracted, like specifically with our phones. It's like, the reason I'm able to sit down and read, I have to put my phone away. Like I can't read and then have my phone next to me. I just can't. Like I have to literally focus, and that's how hard it is nowadays. And I feel like they did that on purpose, you know, so that like, you know, a lot of us won't make it to that top. You know what I mean? Because we don't have enough knowledge. And they say knowledge is power, but it's the intent behind it. Like the knowledge is one thing, but you have to, what are you going to do with the knowledge? You know what I mean? That's what this book that I'm reading, I'm trying to remember the name and I can't, but that's what it talks about. It talks about how, you know, when you get knowledge, you know, it's a collective amount of knowledge, and then like, but what do you do with it? You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to use it in your life? You know, it's one thing to read it, be like, yeah, knowledge is power. I just read this, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, what did you do with it?
Practice.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to practice what you preach, what you're learning is like essentially like, put it into action, you know what I mean? Get some results, you know, whether they're not the results you're looking for. It's like you get results, then you can go back and redo it again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the music, you know, it's like I was so afraid to drop music for a long time because I wanted it to be perfect, you know what I mean? I want it to be mixed and mastered. I want this, I want that. But it's like I went to school for engineering. That's what I did at the Art Institute, you know? And then I'm like, man, like I should have been dropping music with what I had. You know, you got to work with what you have and then just keep building, you know, buy new equipment. Eventually you're gonna get a better sound, you know. Yeah. But people want to hear stuff. People want, you know, the attention span of people is like, you know, so if you're not consistently putting music out, content or whatever, they'll forget about you, you know, especially if you're starting off, you know what I mean? At the bottom, it's like you really got to climb your way up, make people know like, yo, I'm here, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm doing now. That's what the difference between the era before and the era now, you know. It's like King era, like it's like that's what my name kind of represents. It's always reinventing yourself, you know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And man, that speaks to everything we just said, man. Right now. But no, it's time to wrap it up, my guy. I know.
Yeah.
20 minutes flew by, but
that's crazy.
I know. But we got some great combos in, my dude. Obviously we don't always touch up on the full story, but hey, you know, now people know about you and this little community.
Just stay tuned, you know. Keep up to date with what I got going on. You guys will learn more about me.
Go and shout out some stuff.
Man, you know, shout out to the squad, DSB. You know, shout out to the family, and shout out to everybody really representing. Man, we got a lot of new music videos, collaborations coming out. So, you know, shout out to Galaxii Boii for having me, man. Appreciate you, bro. It's been dope.
Go check out all his music in the description. like, share this video, guys. Let's continue to build this community, man, and make this a multi-million-dollar production company, guys. That is the goal. That is what we're here for. If you ain't, get the fuck out. Nah, positive vibes here, guys.
Positive vibes, man. Big blessings, man. The people that miss the train will miss the train. You know what I mean? We just got to keep doing what we do.
Yeah. No,
it's
man.
all love.
Appreciate you coming by.
Hell yeah, man. You
we'll
already
get you
know.
by another time, man. We're have to get the whole M-Stats, everyone up in here, man. Just have a big ass podcast.
That would be dope. Yeah, let's do it. We'll set that up.
I'm trying to schedule it.
All right, cool.
All right, bro.
Much love.
Hey. Yeah.
You can't do this, no. We running, you knew this, dog. Dog me, Brutus. Where we going, you can't go. You can't do this, no. We running, you knew this, dog. Dog me, Brutus. Where we going, you can't go.
Hey, yo, shit sucks. It's a rush when I bust. Ain't no trust when I make these bucks. To the slum when I drink with the crew. It's so remote. Motivation, bless up you. Step inside the room. Really let you know what I do on a daily basis.